morning. How are you? Today very shiny day. Yesterday was very rainy. Yesterday I felt like I was in my hometown. My hometown is kind of 3-4 months continuously raining. So everywhere get flooded. Not bad, that's the way. We have very strong monsoons there. Today suddenly totally. Also yesterday we had that wonderful volunteer appreciation party with even though there was totally raining, but everything went very well. It was very good, and I appreciate all of you come and help with the organizing service and all areas in volunteering, and then again come and had a wonderful time yesterday. It was really beautiful. And as you know, last several weeks we were listening to sermons based on home church and tribal messiah activities, tribal messiah programs. And actually it is about how we can help other people with what we have and with who we are, and so how to transform the society with our presence in the society, and in our presence including within our larger extended family also, how we can transform. That's what all about tribal messiahship and home church privilege, so that we can really build the kingdom of heaven on this earth. And today also I'm talking about that. Actually today is the last one about in that series. And as you already heard about the Hundukah passage, it's the Hundukah passage. Father is talking about the time Israelites, the ancient Hebrews, arrived their promised land, which is Canaan, the land of milk and honey. And how was it when they arrived there? That's what Father talking. And let's see how was then. Let's go back to that biblical passages also a little bit. And I want to bring one biblical reference, which is from Joshua 23, from 6 to 8. When you go and read those Bible passages, several books actually dealing about the same time. It's always talking about the Exodus alone, then the time we are entering into Canaan, and not we, actually the slides. And the time they entered and the time they were settling down there, it's in great details. It is in Old Testament. It is available. It is very good to refer back to that. And in Joshua 23:6-8, actually it's a part of the farewell address Joshua given to the Jewish leaders that time. And in nutshell, the actual commandment, almost the advice is like this. This is the passage. Be strong. Be careful to obey all that's written in the book of the laws of Moses, without turning aside to the right or to the left. Do not associate with these nations that remain among you. Do not invoke the names of their gods, or swear by them. You must not serve them or bow down to them, but you are to hold fast to the Lord your God, as you have until now. This one, we know that from the time Abraham was chosen by God, and the time Abraham became the father of faith, he was building a community of faith. First building a family of faith, a community community of faith finally to build a nation of faith and a world with God, the kingdom of God on this earth. But to him actually God promised that there will be a promised land, and that land is very good. Land is with land of milk and honey. In a way, promising that everything will be there, you wouldn't have to worry about, you will have enough food, everything available there. But you can see that time from right after Abraham chosen, his time wasn't very easy. And of course he had some mistakes in his life, and because of that, and probably several other reasons also, they had to go through a lot of difficulties. And they went to Egypt, and they were under slavery for several centuries. And then God later raised up one leader, Moses, to bring them out of Egypt and lead them into the promised land, Canaan. And even that travel also so hard, very difficult, and they never never even had a proper meal. What was they eating all the time? Manna and quail. Well, it seems a little better. I don't know what exactly manna was. Some
Rocks like bread, and he molds stuff on rocks.
From the boat? Okay. Anyway, but they were eating 43 years, same thing, every day. And then, according to Father's message, they must have looked terrible when they arrived there. And they must have looked like the beggars there. And more than that, I feel they never managed their life by themselves. They were under the control of Egyptians, and then almost they escaped, run out of Egypt and wandering in the wilderness, and never did farming, never did proper hunting, and never managed anything by themselves, always to the mercy of either the other people or the mercy of God. So in a way, when they entered into this promised land, we could somehow see that they were not capable of managing by themselves everything properly. And also, they were we could see, but in a way they were prepared people to govern the promised land, to settle down there, to manage everything. And these chosen people, when they came, what they witnessed, they were promised by God that when you go there, I am preparing a land of milk and honey. You go there and enjoy everything, and you will have abundance of things available, and you just go and enjoy. Probably that was in their mind. But they entered into Canaan. Actually, they could not drive out all the Canaanites tribes. There were still people there, and then they could see actually, as God promised, there was a lot of wealth. Canaanite tribes were very rich. They had a lot of money. They were affluent people. They had good food. They were good farmers. But they are still there. Same time, they had a lot of bad traditions in them. They were worshipping several gods. According to this, worshipping Baals, probably several Baals, not one god. Then they were probably practicing polygamy, polyandry, and no matter who knows what, so many things. And when these people who didn't have any experience in managing their own life, when they get into this Canaan, they a lot of affluent people there. They are able to manage their own life. They are able to have their own farming, but they have this kind of lifestyle also. Probably they might get intimidated by these affluent people. They oh, maybe this is what all these things are. What do we do? What are we supposed to do here? And they were supposed to build, actually they were sent by God to cleanse all these bad things there. They were supposed to wipe out all the bad things there. Wipe out the bad traditions and disbeliefs and build new heavenly kingdom there. Rule that area as God's people, as the people of God. But let's see what happened when they reached there. And in Judges 2, 11, 12, it's right after the book of Joshua. This book actually deals about how they are settling down into Canaan. What is the situation after they reach? And in this one, it's talking about Judges 2, 11 to 12, is talking about Israel's unfaithfulness. It reads like this. Then the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord and served the Baals. They forsook the Lord, the God of their ancestors, who had brought them out of Egypt. They followed and worshipped various gods of the peoples around them. In the previous Bible passage I read, through Prophet Joshua, God was telling them very strongly, do not associate with these nations that remain among you. Do not invoke the names of their gods or swear by them. You must not serve their gods, and you must not bow down to their gods, but you are to hold fast to the Lord your God, as you have until now. All throughout the time of Exodus, all throughout that wilderness time, even though sometimes they had difficulties, they followed God. They did everything completely. They were following God. At least their leaders were bringing them back to faith all the time whenever they were shaking. But as soon as they reach this promised land, which they are supposed to build the real kingdom of heaven, they get fascinated by the culture there. They get totally changed like this. They forsook the Lord, the God of their ancestors. They forget about the teachings of the God. They forget about why they come out of Egypt. They forget about who brought them out of Egypt. And they forget and totally left everything behind and start worshipping that fallen gods, worshipped by the fallen Canaanites tribes in Canaan. In reality, when these Israelites, when they faced the bare reality, the actual thing, they could not keep their faith. Their leader, Joshua, not only Joshua, even Moses also, and all the leaders before, all the prophets, they made them swear in the name of God that they wouldn't deviate from the belief they have in God, their faith they have in their God. And the faith that The covenant they made with God, saying we will follow this 10 commandments and all the Mosaic law. They fade away from that. They get deviated from that. They forget about that when they see this affluent Canaanite tribes. When they see how wonderful life these Canaanite tribes were leading, when they see their houses, when they saw their food, they say, oh, this is better than, forget about that God, whatever we promised, forget about that. Let's lead a comfortable life. That's what's important right now. And how do we do that? Let's make good friendship with them. Let's embrace them so that we can really have a nice, decent living. We were really terribly starving, and the God we are talking about, He pushes through all this suffering. And why do we have to serve? Why do we have to live that kind of terrible life? Let's enjoy. And that's what happened to Israelites. And they tempted by power. They were tempted by money. And they were tempted by comfortable life. And they thought it's better to secure their life externally. Probably they might have intimidated by these affluent people. They could not really deal with these powerful people. In reality, these Israelites were totally trained by God, trained by the direct prophets of God. And God was raising from the time of Abraham, even before, God was waiting for and trying to build up this kind of a new kingdom, a new nation. God was trying to build up a new generation who God can trust. God wanted to believe and live with a generation, a group of people, a community of people, or a nation of people on the whole world where God can totally trust, where God can totally communicate heart by heart, with heart-to-heart communication. Also, they were getting prepared to receive the Messiah. But when they met this affluent people, they forget about everything. They lost their values. The Hebrews thought the rich pagans are more valuable than their God. These rich pagans are more trustworthy than their God, more trustworthy than their leaders like Joshua, Moses, and Isaac, Abraham, Jacob, and all of them. They forget about what they were going through, why they were getting prepared, what they were supposed to do when they arrived in the land of promised land. Why did that happen? Can you say why that was happened? Any answers? Why that happened for Jewish people? Foreign nature. That's true. It's very, with their selfish nature, easily they can get attracted and influenced by other people. And as well as they forget about their purpose, why they were getting trained, why God chose them. God chose them to make real families. God chose them to have a real relationship with God. And they forget about that. And they thought we were just promised by God, come here and have this, use all this milk and honey there or what else we can get, and we are just chosen to live a very, very comfortable external life. And they could have that, and same time, they were chosen to receive God in themselves, the Messiah in them, and also they were chosen to give life to all the entire human life, humanity, and that could now be the seed country where the entire humanity starts from there. They forget all those things, and then they just started enjoying an external life. Sometimes I feel we also are in kind of similar thinking sometimes. Not exactly comparable to that time or that situation, but in many ways, very, very comparable, very similar way. We are chosen by God, chosen by our true parents for a specific purpose. And that purpose is the most valuable thing than the number, how many people we have, and how big we are, and how affluent we are, how much we possess. More than that, we are valuable because of that purpose we are chosen. Because of that covenant we made with God. At least these three basic things, like the belief in God, the belief in spirit world, the belief in families. And sometimes we can really feel intimidated by affluent people. And when I was preparing this sermon, it was kind of almost like a flashbacking the time I joined in India. Not right exactly the time, after some time, I was heavily involved with a lot of interfaith activities as well as a lot of VIP witnessing. And we've always had so many influential leaders from India always attending so many of our international conferences, chosen to give meetings to true parents on their birthdays on so many days, so many times. And that was the major focus we were doing in India. And sometimes I had several times, at least seven of our former VA prime ministers I met personally. Mrs. Roshan is here today. And we met one of our presidents, together we met personally. And many times it happens. And sometimes we would sit together, we had personal interactions. And I had a very famous professor, one lady professor, and she was very close to us, almost like almost like my mother would treat me that way. But sometimes what happens, these very close people even say that little bit kind of, yeah, Manoj, you're really good, but what do you believe? That's kind of, why do you want to get involved with them? That kind of, almost like a very, sometimes I feel like, maybe she's concerned about me. That is the first thing can very easily come to us. When people who are close to us telling us that, hey, you are really good, but why do you want to associate with these kind of things? No, this is not normal. This is kind of something really. But they know what we believe. They know how great morals we have. They know what kind of, how much committed we are. Almost like they want the product, but they don't want the person behind that. They don't want to do anything with true parents, but they want to have that product true parents made. It's, we want to work with you, but not with that, not with other people, with you. But all of my brothers and sisters who were working with me, they had same morals like me. They had same beliefs, their behavior like me. They all are trusted understand fully, but I was kind of full-time member, always mingling with our own brothers and sisters. It was okay for me to go on. But later, now when I look back, it was kind of, maybe these people who are talking to us, probably they are not really thinking, or they don't really mean that, but I feel Satan is kind of really using them. And because I trust them, and many of us would naturally trust a close person who is really personally concerned about us and telling me that, Manoj, why don't you continue your career? Why don't you study a little bit more and then make a decent living? And don't waste your youthfulness here. Don't waste the time you can work and you can make money and make sure your future will be bright. We would naturally listen to that kind of guidance. But now when I look back, I could see that there was kind of so many, in many different ways, it was kind of very, very bad, because talking bad about our other brothers and sisters, then I would kind of, that will affect our community. Then once I'm away from our brothers and sisters, I will easily get weakened within myself, and slowly, we all will be vanished from the face of the earth. And that's why many times, not only that one person, so many people I had. When at one time I had a teacher who was a great teacher, loved me, then told me, and actually because he is very, very educated, I trusted him a lot. And he knows a great deal about the all history, the religious history as well as other external history, and he knows a lot about science and also about this psychiatry and all those kind of things. Then he told me, don't waste your life. I'm really concerned about you. I can help you to go to school. I felt initially that was kind of really good concern. He's really concerned about me. He loved me. I still believe he really loves me. But somehow, unintentionally, if I receive that guidance and get away from my community, I can be totally lost in few years. And many times that can happen each and every one of us. Sometimes even the place we work, our boss can be that way. So I had a boss like that when I was same time while I was a church member in India. I had a boss who would help me in everything, but he would always telling me that get out of this, get out of this. And here also, every time we can face people like that. And once we decided, okay, I'm going to save myself, I'm going to get away from this, then after that we will have a lot of things, many other things attacking us. Many times, here the culture is very strong. We can't really talk so much about our values we are really believing. Sometimes if we talk about that, that can be considered kind of not so pleasant, not so great. That's why it is so important we have to be together and we have to be really proud of, and we have to understand why we are doing this and what we are doing. And yesterday we had a great meeting with some of our youth leaders who are concerned about our community. And one thing they all said that we were kind of thinking what we are really happy about, what we can be proud of. Everyone agreed that our families, we can be really proud of that. Nobody said our families are perfect, but everyone said our families are exceptional. And we are really trying to make some phenomenal change in the community with our families. And can we promote that? That's what their suggestion. I think that we can really promote about that. But sometimes we can receive criticism when we say about we believe in a family of one man and one woman, and when we say that, that may not be the exact definition of a family for everyone. But regardless of that, we have to be proud of that. We have to proclaim that. And then only we will be able to really become messiahs for the entire world. And at the time of Israelites, ancient Hebrews, the promised land was only Canaan. But for us, the whole world is promised land. God asked us to restore the entire globe. And that's why in early 70s, Trooper sent missionaries to the whole, each and every countries. And I heard that time Father gave them guidance that if you go there and live there and keep your faith and just come back by yourself, I am victorious. We are victorious. That means just by going and keeping our values and keeping that standard in our own life, that's so difficult, we can be victorious just by ourselves keeping that. And then if we are able to do that, we will be able to bring other people also. Not controlled by other people. Not get converted by other people. And I feel when we are in different fields right now, we are not always together. Only we come together once in a week for 2 hours or 3 hours. All other time we are with so many other people. And that time it's so important to firmly believe and firmly understand that what we are doing with our life. Many times, even sometimes, many of you go to universities, isn't it? Many of you study in college. When you study in college, that's where you learn about equality, you learn about all kind of human rights and animal rights and all kind of rights. And then, many times, our own personal belief about God also we can talk about. And many times our belief about spiritual we can talk about. We don't need to talk to everyone, but it gets threatened when we feel like, oh, I believe in spiritual. I can't really explain what is that belief. Then when we are in a group of people with 10 or 15 people believe that there is no spirit world, then we, just 1 or 2 people believe there is, then how can we survive there? It's so difficult. And practically, if we prove that with the scientific technologies, we can't prove properly. Then we get intimidated, we don't want to talk, and then we, again and again we feel, oh, maybe that's something we believe, something funny, maybe that's not really true. That kind of doubt come to our mind. And then if we don't clear that with more study or more discussion, it can take us away our faith, take us away our standards we have. So the way we can deal with these kind of things, always consult with our other friends and relatives or our parents we have in our church, or parents, our people we have with a common belief, we can always discuss. It is having a doubt, having a misunderstanding, that's not something strange. It's natural. None of us can totally understand God. None of us fully understand God in 1 day or 2 days. It's a journey. We are walking a journey towards God, towards more and more clearer faith. It's always only if we clear up our doubts, our misunderstandings, then only we can really establish this kingdom of heaven. Then only we can really establish our community properly and settle down in this promised land. This world is promised for us. God created for human beings to lead a proper life. But when we face difficulties, never get intimidated, and never feel that, oh, we can't do anything. And we are so small. We are not small. Compared to early 60s and 70s, we are humongous now. We are so big now. And sometimes even like, not only from the college and universities or workplace, we can sometimes get criticized within our own extended families. And sometimes they have different understanding. Some of them may not believe in God. Some of them may not believe in any religion. And now this is a time of celebrations. Christmas coming, we just had Thanksgiving. And usually on these times what we have is, we have so many of the parties and get-togethers, and we meet our relatives, and sometimes we go back and meet our parents. And these are times we feel like, oh, I don't have enough to stand in front of my parents. I don't have enough courage or strength or monetary or financial stability so that I can prove to my siblings that I am something worthy. Sometimes many first generation members, we join early times, we feel that way. But that's not reality. We have an amazing truth we found in our life, and amazing families, and again, we are on the process of regaining everything. We are achieving day by day. And then, when we go there, and sometimes I had that problem when I meet with my friends. After I joined the church, when I go back and meet with my friends, they would tease me and they would always say, oh, you all are strange. You're just a bunch of funny people going around and selling ball pens for living. And it wasn't for living. It was a condition we were doing for God. Sometimes they would always tell us, why don't you drink some wine? It's fun. It's Christmas. And when we refused, they said, oh, you are so strange. We are not strange. We come back to normal, actually, a proper life. It's not something strange, not drinking wine or alcohol. It's not strange. It's very, very normal. And saying like that, going for so many times, you may get invited for Christmas parties or maybe midnight parties and things like that. It's okay not to go. Even if you go, it's okay not to drink. It's okay not to dance with people you don't want to. These are all normal things. And never feel when somebody else pushes you to do something. Learn to say no. And this is my standard. This is what I believe. And never feel that even though in your community or in wherever you work or wherever you study, even though 1,000 people do the wrong thing, you one person doing the right thing is the thing allowing God to be survived in this world. Without your courage, without your firm stand, God cannot be present in this world. True parents cannot be present in this world. That's why our steadfastness, our promise to God, our promise to true parents in keeping these morals in our life, that is the most important thing about our organization, about our church. The number doesn't matter. The number, even if we are 10 or even if we are 20, even if we are 100 or 1,000 or even one person, it doesn't matter if we don't have that crystal clear understanding of what God wants us to do. Our understanding about the purpose of my life, the purpose of our church, the purpose of our movement, and purpose of the kingdom of God, that is more important. If we have just one person with that understanding, still God can continue. God can work. If we don't have that, God cannot understand. God cannot continue that work. That's why even if you face kind of funny treatment from other people, pushing you to drink, pushing you to do certain things you don't want to. Sometimes you may struggle. Oh, what do I do? If I don't do that, they would treat me as strange. It's not true. Actually, they would treat you with more respect in their mind, even though they are outwardly they are using kind of teasing words and some little bit provocative words. In long run, they will respect you more if you refuse to get involved in bad things. And many times you can see that in few months or in few years, you will be able to see that. I went through that. And many times now, most of my friends respect me because I did not get involved with them when they were asking me to go to. In our area, it's so common that all men go for hiking and all kind of things without their families. And after my marriage and after I learned principle, somehow I didn't really wanted to get involved with just men having fun and then leaving behind all the family members at home. I didn't want to do that. Then I was always teased that, oh, you are not a man, you don't do anything. You are not courageous enough to do certain things. And now they respect me because I have a good family. I enjoy what I'm doing with my family, and that's what we have to. Our focus is to build good families. Our focus is not just to build or not just to have fun for one person. And when we do that, we are slowly building good things for us as well as for the other people who are living around us, not only for our own church members. And here, recently we can always hear that whenever True Mother talk to us, Mother is talking about asking us to be proud of who we are. We make remarkable achievement by following true parents. Together with true parents, we made this amazing community. And let us be proud of that, and so that we can truly, with that heavenly pride, we can build again we can expand and help other people by allowing them to learn from us what we have good in us. And I want to finish with that reading. Father, we heard this morning, when you set out for your hometown, do not sell yourself out. Instead, dominate your environment and transform it into one in which you can bring the 7 times of Canaan to voluntary submission. Unite them as one and play the role of the owner as their Messiah. Even within them also, to Father, asking us, help people to even unite within themselves and then be the owner of them. Play the role of the owner and be a Messiah for them. Be a person who is bringing them back to God. Be a person who can give them real life. But if we get influenced by their thinking, if we get fascinated by how much they have, how much we can gain from them, then we will sell ourselves to other people, and then we will lose our life. We will be under death, and we can't even help them anymore. Our presence is important for them also. They need to get salvation through us. They need to get salvation from the Messiah through us. Without us, they can't. That's why be proud of who we are. Proudly believe that we are changing this world by having our firm beliefs, by having this community within this larger community and this world. We are creating a heavenly community, a heavenly kingdom, and we are transforming this world into promised land. And we are truly doing that. And we will one day, we will achieve that. And until that day, it may not be always easy, but believe, always look back to that promise you have given to God. Look back to that promise you have given to true parents. And always revisit to that purpose we have in our own life. And thank you for coming on this Sunday morning. May God bless you and have a wonderful week.